Hello everyone, my name is Steven with a V and welcome to Storytime. I just want to also add in on my third day here, thank you all for your lovely welcome messages and feedback. I'm taking everything into consideration as we go forward and I look forward to sharing stories with you for hopefully a long time coming. And just let me say, if you're not already subscribed to Storytime, please consider doing so. But with that being said, let's sit back, relax, and listen to some captivating Reddit stories. I don't work for you anymore. I worked for a manager that was the worst in managing people. He would require as much notice for vacations as possible, then days before the vacation, mind you, he approved every one of them, informed you that your vacation is canceled. I work for a third-party logistics company that handles distribution of product from their warehouses to the retail stores. The old company I worked for lost the contract due to legal issues, and I was offered a promotion to stay on with the new company. Since the customer did not let go of all of the distribution at once, they switched the old company for 2 parts of the warehouse, then the last part 2 months later. The manager in question was still working for the old company when I moved to the new company.
You need to come in and do my productivity this weekend.
Sorry, my duties have ended as of 2 p.m. today and I can't do that.
You are the only one that is able to do my incentive and you must do this.
Sorry, no, I do not work for you.
Fine, see you Saturday.
Yeah, okay. Saturday rolls around and I don't show up. The manager texts,
Where are you? I need to get this done.
I text back, I don't work for you. I won't be showing up and I'm going to work at the other warehouse in 2 hours.
You are holding hostage my productivity and this is not fair.
Feeling bad for the 20 people I would hurt, I text back, fine, for $100 I will come in and train you, but only once.
That is blackmail.
Take it or leave it. I went to work at the new warehouse and after 4 hours, manager emails and calls. He offers $50 of his own money. Since I was at work and it would take no more than 10 minutes, I did it. The next week, he again texts and wants me to write his SOP. I text him, sorry, no. The manager demanded it and called me all weekend. I finally had to block his number and email. I alerted our HR department and they handled it. Ooh boy, I don't even know where to start with this dude. This person just could not get it through their thick skull that this person didn't even work for them. But OP honestly did the best thing, just ignore him, block him, let HR handle it, and it just eventually went away, which is great. Mistaken for a helper after death in family. My dad died suddenly in an accident when I was in my 20s. After the first 24 hours of shock, I went to his mom's place as I knew Grandma would be devastated. Dad had moved us about 150 miles away from his hometown when I was a baby, but Grandma had stayed in the place where she raised Dad. I visited her often and knew a few of her close friends, but wasn't really part of her wider community. Anyway, I arrived to find the houses absolutely rammed with people. I mean rammed. Every kindly person from the town was coming and going, and people driving across from the neighboring towns to pay respects. Most visitors were Grandma's age, late 70s and above, and some had brought younger members of their family to help out, along with food and drink and flowers and such. It was really heartwarming the way the community sprang into action. They were always having bring and shares and get-togethers in that neighborhood, so everyone sort of knew how it worked. The younger folk waited on the older folk. Lots of people recognized me and gave me a hug, said kind words, and urged me to sit with them, which was sweet, but after a minute or two I would excuse myself as I found it easier to busy myself with clearing plates and helping wash up. Still in shock and tired and finding it a bit wearing to say appreciative things to all these strangers, people understood. Sadly, the accident was a big one and had made the local news. So unfortunately, there were a few nosy parkers here and there too, people who barely knew Grandma but turning up for the social, having a sandwich and a drink. I was walking to the kitchen with some plates when a woman, who seemed to have arrived on her own and didn't know anyone, grabbed my arm and, dabbing at her dry eyes with a hanky, asked if there was a nip of brandy in the house. There sure was. Every third person had brought something medicinal, and Grandma was already pretty well stocked anyway. So I brought her back a drink and she asked me to sit with her for a moment. She went on and on about how terrible it was, what a loss, all the while dabbing dry eyes and swigging from her glass. Seems she had lived in the street that Dad lived in when he was a small boy, but didn't know much more about him than that. She started telling stories about her life in that street and got more and more off topic as she did so, telling me about her husband's ingrown toenail and her daughter's difficulty with some building work. Apparently this was all very hard on her nerves, and she was so exhausted she asked for a second drink, and maybe a double this time as she was so upset. I was glad to go away and get it. When I brought it back, she was really warming to her captive audience and literally gripped my arm as she started off on another tale about heaven knows what while I sat there numbly. Luckily, a friend of Grandma's recognized me, came over and gave me a squeeze on the shoulder and asked me how Grandma was doing. "Oh," said the random lady, "do you know Grandma's name?" I replied, "Yes, I'm Dad's name's eldest." Well, the look on her face, her mouth hung open, astonished and cross, and once she'd got it working again, she snapped, "Fancy sitting there nodding like that while I went on." Luckily, she did let go of my arm, and I just sloped off back to the kitchen. The friend who'd interrupted came and asked me if I was okay about it all, but I really was. The woman hadn't upset or offended me at all. My heart and mind were completely elsewhere. But I confess, I still chuckle when I think of her face as she realized she'd assumed I was a random youngster there to support and serve her. In a way, I kind of feel for the lady on this one, just because I feel like this would be the kind of mistake I would make somehow, where you know what they say about assuming. I probably would assume the same thing for some weird reason, end up in a really awkward situation. The only bad thing is she snapped at the person, which isn't okay. And of course, my condolences to OP. Let me say it real slow-like for you. The year was 1999. I was in high school, and because it's been so long, I'll go ahead and tell you that I was in a maroon polo with an Arbys name tag and embroidered logo on the shirt. It had been a long Saturday. One of my managers and I were friends and decided to take our break together. She needed to grab something from a local sports store in the same shopping center. I tag along. We do our shopping and get in line, like people do. We're absorbed in our conversation. I don't have a clue what it was about, it's been a few years since then, but I do know that we were happy about the topic and laughing while we waited to be checked out. In an age before Karens had been labeled as such, a challenger had appeared. I only knew this because of an obnoxiously forceful tap 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 on the back of my shoulder. Annoyed, I turned around and popped off with a surprised, "Can I help you?" "Yeah, could you quit cutting up and joking around on the clock and open up another register?" You know the usual. You try to butt in and say you don't work there, she won't STFU long enough. When she finally stops her entitled ranting, I very, very slowly point to the logo on my shirt, make direct eye contact, and slowly, so very slowly say, "Arbys." I then turn around and go back to my day. Some Karens just want to watch the world get written up. I absolutely loved this story, just the way he handled the conversation. Arbys, just very slowly. I love that. And I love that it just made that Karen completely stop talking. "You want me to help you, but lingerie for your lady?" I decided to run into a store real quick on Valentine's night to surprise my sweetie. We usually celebrate Valentine's the next day when restaurants, etc. aren't crowded and the goodies are cheaper. Leftover tradition from our broke college days. So there I am, minding my own business. "Excuse me, help." He is carrying a bra and panty from 2 different lines and points to the tag. "Same?" This gentleman is a newcomer to the US and hasn't had the time to learn the language. It becomes clear quickly that he doesn't know how to read either. In very broken English, he is asking me if the bra and panties match, the price, and if they are the right size for his lady, who isn't there. Good news is, I speak Spanish, not fluent, but conversational. I managed to help him decide on a gift bag too. He seemed genuinely thankful to find someone in the store who could help. This was a nice little story. I like the helpfulness of it, and I like that both of them are going out to get something nice for their loved ones on Valentine's Day. So overall, just a pretty sweet story to hear. Headphones doesn't equal employment. I'm a creative individual and I love Hobby Lobby. The managers there know I'm a regular and we're pretty friendly towards each other when they see me in the store. The day this happened, it was hot outside. Summertime in the South, so I was wearing my mid-thigh shorts, a spaghetti strap tank top, and flip-flops. I'm also very introverted, so I put my headphones in with the hope of being left alone. It's my day off work, so I decided to go to Hobby Lobby and stock up on materials for my latest project. I'm wandering around a bit, and then this woman approaches me, very politely, asking if I know where something is. I told her, sorry I don't, and I don't work here, and she apologizes and says she thought I was an employee because of my headphones. I laughed and said if I was on the clock wearing this, I would probably be fired. As I said this, one of the managers passed by and laughed at my comment and said, "We love your business, but yeah, you wouldn't have a job coming in like that." We all had a good laugh about it, and life went on as normal. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know where the confusion happens here. They were in a very non-professional outfit, and just because they were wearing headphones, that's why? It kind of reminds me of a situation I had where I went to a dollar store and I was wearing a polo and my student ID, and they thought because I had my student ID on that I was working there for some reason. But thankfully the story ended in just a good laugh and everybody went their ways. Nope, I don't work here. I'm 13 years old. Backstory, my mom and I went to a flower shop to buy my granny some fertilizer and flowers. And now, the story. When we arrived, I went to the fertilizer bag hill and started to throw them in the cart while my mom picked flowers. On my second bag, a man looked at me and said,
"Young man, stop messing with that stuff and come to open me a second cash register."
"Sorry sir, I don't work here, but you can go to the opened one."
"Stop messing with me, mister, or I will get you fired."
"Okay," throwing another bag. The man walked away to get the manager while I got down from Fertilizer Hill and walked with my mom to the register. 5 minutes later, the man pointed at me to the manager and said,
"Here he is. That is your employee that attacked me."
The manager looked at me and said back to the man, "I'm sorry, sir, but he does not work here." In the end, we got 5 free broccoli plants. First off, why did this man say that he attacked him? First, he walks up to some random 13-year-old, demands a register open, and then says he attacked him? But hey, I mean, in the end, at least the kid got everything kids want: broccoli! But with that being said, that's all the stories we have for today, so thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed these stories, please consider subscribing to Storytime, and please leave any feedback you can in the comments below. I am reading them, and I am taking them into consideration as I continue to find my groove here sharing these stories with all you lovely people. Thank you again for watching.